So first of all, we need to talk about some parts of a circle and what they are in order to continue talking. So we need to go over some vocab. The beginning of chapters are always pretty vocab heavy. We have to set up the definitions that we're going to be working with.
And the nominative.
So our first one is circle. What? No way. We're talking about circles and we have to define a circle? What? No way. I'm so surprised by that. Okay. Nice.
Thank you,
A circle is a circle.
Okay. Circle. In the parentheses, we're going to put the little symbol for it. You put a dot and then you draw a circle around it. What? No way.
That was like a potato.
That is
I don't know what kind of potatoes you are.
potato.
Can we just draw a circle?
I am.
You can draw what I did.
That's not a
Alright.
circle though. That's
That-
like a donut.
That is the only way. That's the only way we abbreviate the word circle in here. We do not abbreviate it any other way.
Why don't you just draw a
I'm gonna
circle?
write
Why do
circle.
you say that? It's kind of
Circle.
like
Why?
Just like this would be triangle,
I'm calling
and
them
this
donuts.
It's equidistant.
is parallelogram.
yeah, but we don't put dots in the middle of the.
Well, you have to, otherwise it's like,
Oh, yeah, you always think it's like
Circle. It is the set of all points in a plane that are equidistant from a given point called the center. Okay. So, in this circle, A would be our center. A is our center. It's in the middle of the circle, and it's equidistant, the same distance, from all these points around. So all these points here, they're made up of a bunch of little tiny points in here. Infinitely many, truly, infinitely many points in here, and they're all the same distance from the center. They're all the same distance from that center, and so all of these points collectively form the circle. So that way, if you're on a team and you say, "Hey, circle up a stretch," now you know what a circle is, right? Okay, right.
I already knew
Right,
what a
we can use this
circle
knowledge
was.
for our practice because we were really bad at circles. Okay, if we're having a geometry teacher as our coach, we're pretty bad at circles. Okay. So the example of this circle is we name it circle, and we call it by the center. So we call it circle A. That's what you would call that. You name the circle by the center. So like a parallelogram or like any quadrilateral or polygon, we named it by all the points outside, all the vertices. Well, there's no vertex on a circle. There's no points necessarily. And so there's no vertex of a circle. And so we'll still have vertices, but they're different. And so a little bit.
Wait, that's
And
the
so
only-
we'll name it by the center. What?
That's the only way you can name it.
Yep. Radius. A radius is a segment, a line segment, not a line, not a ray, a line segment, whose endpoints are the center and literally any point on the circle. So somebody give me an example of a radius in this picture, Jacob.
AB.
Okay, awesome. Segment AB. Somebody else give me an example of a radius in this picture. Okay, Kaylee. AD. Okay, Josie. AC. Those would all be examples of radii. The plural of radius, plural, will be radii. With two i's. Radii is the plural of radius. It's agnatic. Sure. You can find out that already. Yes.
Yeah.
How else would you get radii? Otherwise, it'd just be radii.
R-A-D-I. Or
Radii.
radii.
It's like radius, but radii.
Radii.
But there's no e in this. That one makes okay.
So?
Chord. A chord. Not like musical chord. Okay. A segment whose endpoints are on the circle. A segment whose endpoints are on the circle. Okay. Somebody give me an example. Okay. I heard it. Segment CB would be an example of a chord here. Okay. Segment CB is a segment whose endpoints are both on the circle. There's actually one more chord here. Evan. What?
Casey.
KC.
There's another one.
Like that garbage AFC West team that was never going to go to the Super Bowl because they had a terrible defense.
Or like
Okay.
that guy with the sunshine
What?
But
Okay.
never heard of it.
There are
GB.
DB is not a segment though. There's no line connecting
Oh,
DB.
okay.
If there was, then that would be a chord, but there's no line connecting DB.
I got it.
Okay. Diameter. Diameter is a specific type of chord. Diameter is a chord, so its endpoints are on the circle, but it has to go through the center. So what's our diameter here, Josie? CB. Why is KC not a diameter? It's a chord. Why is it not a diameter? It doesn't go through A, our center. Secant. Secant. I know we're going through a lot of these. Secant. It's a line that intersects the circle at 2 points. So it's a line. So before we've had, up to this point, we've had a segment, a chord, which is a segment. Now we have a line. So someone here, tell me a line that intersects the circle at 2 different points. Noah. Okay. Line JH, and it actually intersects only at 1 point.
I said IH.
We don't have an I.
Yes,
Yeah, we
we
do.
do. Top left.
Oh, my.
Dang.
Thank you. Line IH would be an
Mistake.
example.
Mark it down, Evan.
Okay. Line IH would be, in fact, a secant. Okay, it's a line that intersects the circle at 2 points. Another way we can think of it is it's a line that contains a chord. Anytime a line contains a chord, means it intersects at 2 points. So a line that contains a chord is another way to think about it. I actually thought I changed it to that definition.
Right,
but I
right,
accidentally didn't, so whoops. Oh no, I did change it on your guys'. It's okay. So on yours, it does say a line that contains a chord. I just forgot to change it on yours. Okay, so it is a line that contains a chord. That's how I prefer it. I prefer that it's a line that contains a chord. Now, could we have named this line in a different way than IH?
I.
We call it HI. Could we call it line CK?
No.
No, it's not a line, it's a segment.
It can still be a line. It can still be a line. It can still go this way and this way, actually. It could still be a line. We could call it line CK. We could call it line CK. Okay, you just need any 2 points on the line. You can call it line CH, line KI, line CK, line HI, all of any 2 points on the line.
Line CB.
I might know. Okay, just because I know you love it.
So CB is also.
Tangent. Oh, sorry, what?
CB is also.
Okay, actually, okay, so this really should have these lines on here. But CB doesn't have a line, so it wouldn't be. But if there was a line coming off here, then segment CB would be a chord, but line CB would be the secant.
Okay.
A wonderful world.
Or are we gonna get into like so and stuff
No.
later?
No, we're not doing anything in a circle. Okay,
We're not doing any US.
tangent. Tangent. It's a line that intersects the circle at exactly 1 point. What is a line here that intersects the circle at exactly 1 point? Okay? I heard JH, you can call it HB, you can call it a lot of different things. This line, once again, that should have arrows. That is a mistype by Mr. Consul. Okay? And this line over here would be our tangent. Now you might hear on a conversation, you go on a tangent. What's that mean?
You're like going on and on and on and on. Rampage.
Okay, like a side point, right? Like kind of like a bunny trail, if you will. Yeah, tangent means it intersected your combo at 1 point, but it went a completely different direction. So like a tangent off of that, like, kind of thing, like, like say we're talking about, like Kaylee Clark do, and then someone's like, oh, I want to say something about sharks. It connects exactly at sharks, even though we were talking about a nickname, it connects at sharks and keeps going a different direction. So it would be like a tangent.
Wow.
Where'd you get the bunny trail?
It's the same thing. It's also called a bunny trail.
I've never heard of that.
Really?
I've heard it.
You guys have never heard the phrase bunny trail?
No,
No, it's like
millennials.
going off something. It's not-
Really?
it's not the same thing.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. It's like super the same thing. Yeah. It's like oh, it's super common. How have you guys not heard this? Wow. Yeah, this is the bunny trail.
It's so.
Point of tangency. The point of tangency is the point. What? No, wait. The point is a point. Okay. The point of tangency is where.
It's like really.
Are you guys gonna stop? Thank you. The point of tangency is the point where the tangent line touches the circle. So our tangent line, where does it touch the circle?
Point B.
At point B. So the one place it touches the circle would be the point of tangency.
These people who created like geometry rules and all that, they were really creative.
They were what? You were really great, like I said?
They were really creative. Let's call.
Well, they were inventing something, so.
Triangle, in the circle, it's a right angle. No, wrong one.
Actually, no. Wait.
Point B is
Do you really, you can't do that.
No, you can. You can know that.
What?
Oh, we'll get into that. That'll be section 6 point, or 9 point,
My brain hurts.
9.4.
Hey,
Okay.
do it.
Yeah. That'll be section 9.4.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
No, Jacob, I told that. See it. Jacob?
Um,
Jacob sees head.
I heard about what Lily said to you.
What Belle really said to you.
Flowers can talk now.
Where where she was like, did you take Sherman nigger?
Oh, yeah, she actually said a bad word while she was trying to say trigonometry. So going on, and we shouldn't really repeat that stuff in here. It's not a good thing either. Example 1, right below this, list all the chords and diameters in this figure. So first of all, raise your hand if you want to tell me a chord in this figure. Okay, Noah. Okay, SR is an example of chord. Segment SR is an example of a chord. Somebody give me another chord in this circle. Evan.
You are.
You are. You are what?
You
My
are.
son.
Okay, Josie.
Maybe TS.
TS would be our other chord. Very good. Now, of these chords, which of them are diameters? Okay, your, UR is,
Yes.
and segment TS are both diameters. What would that make QS and QR? If Q is the center, what would that make QS and QR? Radii.
Yeah.
They would both be radii. And what do we know about radii?
They're all.
Yeah, any radii of the same circle would be congruent. And the reason why,
They're all the same distance away.
because all the points in the circle are equidistant from the center. So that means QS and QR would be congruent. So what kind of triangle would triangle QSR be? Isosceles, very good.
I saw on the.
It's possible it's acute. We don't actually technically know.
Hold on.
Okay.
I don't know how to spell it.
Yeah, I don't mean either.
ISOS C E Elias.
No.
Yes.
That looks
I
like a cute.
saw-
No,
No.
right.
Go
Oh,
back.
ISOS C E LES. Okay. Why? And it's because radii are congruent. No. Vetoed.
You didn't say. You didn't say we could say that.
What?
There's two plural forms
Of rhombus.
of. Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, not for radius.
Radius. The outside
Okay,
crossing
yes.
rags are.
So like SQ and like RQ and like those are also congruent to like UQ and TQ.
Yep. Good question. Okay, example 2. Kaylee. Are you wanting to help on example 2? What do you
No,
want
I
to do?
was gonna. Never mind. Never mind.
Okay. Example 2. Tell whether the line is best described, line, point, segment, is best described as a radius, chord, diameter, secant, or tangent of circle C. Okay? So segment BC would be what? A radius. It goes from the center C. We know it's the center because it's called circle C to a point on the circle. So it's a radius. What would line DE be? Raise your hand and tell me what line DE would be, Tyler. Tangent. It would be a tangent. It's a line that intersects the circle at exactly 1 point. What would point B be, Evan?
Point of tangency.
Very good. It'd be the point of tangency.
Can we just do like POT or
No.
something?
Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
That's not what I did.
Segment FA would be, raise your hand to help me out. Segment FA would be Aubrey. It would be a chord.
Isn't that like a music thing too?
Yes.
You said what are the chords? And I was like, well, there's C major, there's C minor, there's C.
I was gonna say like not the music thing. Line FA would be Josie. Secant. Very good. It's a line that contains that chord. So notice here, segment FA is a chord, but line FA is a secant. Chords are segments, secants are lines. Segment AB would be diameter. Thank you, Jacob. It would be a diameter. It's a chord, and it goes through our center C.
He's concerned.
Why are you speaking in third person?
So I'm
So
like,
he
Aubrey
doesn't
doesn't wanna have.
Because this is a documentary.
Questions on this?
Because Aubrey wants a dad.
Okay,
Dad.
there are three types of arcs in a circle. We're going to talk about arcs. Okay. Okay, arcs. Arcs.
No, his dad can
Guys, listen up. Listen up, like what Mr. Kaufman said.
Art.
Okay. Arcs. Listen up. Thank you. Arcs is part of the distance around the circle. It can be the whole thing, but it's part of the distance around the circle. Would be the arc. So here you can have a minor arc. A minor arc is any arc that's less than 180 degrees. How many degrees would the full circle be? 360. So a minor arc would be less than half.
Because you probably learned it in like 6th grade, 7th
No,
grade,
but
8th grade.
I've never learned that. So
Well, you said
why
you
would I
learned everything
definitely
about
learned that.
circles.
You
You need to know
definitely
that.
learned
You know what you learned.
Triangle, maybe?
Okay,
I didn't know.
the way we name this
So why
arc,
did you ask me?
the highlighted arc here, we would call it arc DB. Now how you do that is you could write arc DB or you could do a little arc above it. So just like we have little angles, we have little segments, we have little lines, we have little rays, we have all these little symbols. We have a little arc. Now we can also reverse the direction just like we do with a segment, a line, an angle, or you can do arc BD. You can do arc BD. That's the happiest Aubrey one. Okay. So you name it by two letters. You name a minor arc by two letters, which are the endpoints of the arc.
I'd be happier if you got me.
Now we know. Okay. Semicircle. A semicircle will be exactly equal to 180 degrees. It's going to be half the circle.
Wait, how can a line be a degree?
It's not a line, it's an arc.
There's three types of arcs. How do you make a distance degree?
We'll talk about it. That's actually next section. Soon we'll be able to shapes. I mean, well, yes, but actually no. Okay. So we name this arc. We name a semicircle by three letters.
Oh.
So we do the two endpoints and a point in between. So here we would name it CDB, major or semicircle CDB, or arc CDB, which is technically a semicircle. How else could we name it? BDC. Very good. We could flip around that B and see the endpoints. We could flip those around. But D has to be in the middle, right? Because you just follow. You just pick a point, pick an endpoint, and you follow it along. You say, oh, I picked up D on the way. Okay. A major arc is going to be greater than what? 180. These are all based on half the circle, right? Okay. So naming is, we'll use three letters for this as well. So does somebody want to take a shot at naming this? Evan. CBD. Very good. Major arc CBD. Okay. Tyler. DBC. DBC. Very good. Those would be our two names for our major arc. So when we go back to like this first one, the minor arc, some people might ask, well, how do we know that arc DB is talking about this part and not, for example, if you guys look up here real quick, how is it not talking about this part? How do we know it's not talking about that major arc? Okay, there's no C. How many letters do we use? Two. You always use two letters for a minor arc, and you always use three letters for a semicircle or a major arc. So anytime it's 180 or over, it's always going to be three letters. And anytime it's a minor arc, less than 180 is going to only be two. So because we only have two, we automatically know, oh, we're talking about that one. Questions on that? Dang. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, so actually, right after this, we'll do it. Okay. So,
No.
yes, veto. Okay.
Wait, are
Are you
there?
the president?
No, I don't think
Dictator.
so. So
Dictator.
you can't
He's a
know.
dictator.
So anything.
Determine whether each highlighted arc is a minor arc, major arc, or a semicircle, then name the arc. So let's do A together real quick. Okay, so it's a minor arc. How do we know it's minor?
Because
Two letters.
Less than 180, okay?
But do we
And only
really
has
know
just 2
that?
points.
No.
Well, we 100% know that. Okay? And so what would we name this arc? There's 2 ways we can do it. What's one way? Okay, arc IB. Could we flip those around? Sure.
They're good
I want you guys to do B and then also 2A and B. Okay, I want you guys to do B and then 2A and B. So I want you guys to finish these example 3 out. Good luck, buddy. I have the appointment scheduled for 2:30 in May.
Hope you get braces.
Do you really?
Because when I went for my last checkup, they're like, when do you want your next one? I'm like, oh, let's do it this day. What time? You have a 2:30 appointment available? Yes, we do. Perfect. I waited my whole life to do this. Because I had an appointment one time that was at 2:40, so close. And they're like, so we need you to fill out some paperwork too. That's like an adult thing you have to do. It's like you have to fill out paperwork all the time. Everywhere you go, there's paperwork anyway. That's a tangent. Bunny trail. And they're like, but you could either fill it online before you get here. It could come about 10 minutes early. I'm like, oh, I'll come 10 minutes early so I can be there at 2:30. Oh, didn't even laugh. I'm like, okay, whatever. But when I scheduled the other appointment at 2:30, I got a laugh. Yeah.
I want to lie to you, but also I'm kind of disappointed you at the same time.
That's okay. Kind of disappointed you at the same time. Mr. Carlson, nice to meet you.
Now I want this one. I can't say that loud.
Hey, on B. What kind of arc is this, Gage? It's a major arc. And what's one way we can name this major arc? Noah.
Arc LMKN.
Okay, we would use how many letters?
3.
3. We want to use 3 letters always.
LNN.
So we could do LMN, LKN. Either one of those would be okay, right? Okay, are there other ways we can name it? Yeah. Okay. So it might not look the same as your neighbors. That's okay. So it could be right. Okay, on 2. Highlights the given arc. Okay, so somebody want to come up here and highlight arc MJL. Okay, I'll let Kaylee Clark do this one. I wrote that on her test too. I just showed Kaylee Clark. I'm like do, and I make sure to do the right number of do's. I say it.
seriously did?
Yeah, I say it in my head.
Oh, that's big.
That-
I don't like that.
It's okay. Stop.
No.
Okay, I agree that would be the major arc MGL. Can I get a volunteer for the second one? Lots of volunteers, okay? Let's go with Daniel.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's like so offended. Like, how was I not the one of 5 people chosen?
I am crippled.
Hi, Cripple. Mr. Carlson, nice to meet you.
You did that.
I got you more today than I have most times.
I'm just sad because of my surgery.
When did you find out about that?
No.
Last night.
He goes,
It's a good thing you got it wrong.
I'll go do it right.
Oh, my turn, boys.
Yes. But I super disagree with you.
I'll go do it right.
Hey, whoa, hold up. Hey, why do I disagree with Daniel?
Because that's more than
Because
That's more than 180. It should be the minor arc, okay?
I was making sure you guys pay attention.
Uh-huh, sure.
Is that why you want
I'm
to
really trying to figure it out. Mr. Costa, how many are there?
How many? What are there?
How many dudes?
2.
7?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Sorry, 2.
No. No.
6?
Do?
So he's not counting the.
Questions on this one?
What is wrong with you?
Okay, lots. Hey. So, here's a joke I heard. Okay, it's a pretty good one. I like it. Okay. Heads up. I laughed more than I should have, but that's on a lot of things. Okay. So, how did the butcher introduce his wife to his friends?
By killing him.
This is so fun.
Meet Patty. Right? Right? Isn't that great? I love that one.
I like the option.
Yeah, I do that yesterday.
She told me my last hour, and just the way she laughed so
Oh man.
Kenzie
She has one of the funniest laughs.
That's so true. Yeah, so
I'll
Yeah,
tell
she
you.
was like,
Okay.
no, we were at
That's one of my
Golden
favorites.
Dragon,
Oh, yeah.
and we were at Golden Dragon before a basketball game. Like the entire dance team went, and I don't remember what was said, but Kenzie started laughing, and then Lily started laughing, and Kenzie laughing, and then Kenzie started laughing and Lily laughing because
Yeah.
they were laughing the exact same
That
way.
sounds
So
about
they were
right.
just looking at each other like this. And it was like Kenzie's laugh, so it was like the
Yeah, that's exactly it too. Okay, central and inscribed angles. A central angle is an angle whose vertex is in the center of the circle and its endpoints lie on the circle. Notice central angle, why the vertex is on the center of the circle. What? No way, okay? Somebody give me an example of a central angle. Make sure you use 3 letters to name this angle, okay, Jacob?
Angle JHI.
Perfect. Angle JHI would be an example of a central angle. Okay? An inscribed angle will be an angle whose vertex lies on the circle and whose endpoints also lie on the circle. So the sides of it are the chords of the circle. Okay? Josie.
KLM.
Perfect. Angle KLM would be the inscribed angle here. The vertex is on the circle and it also intersects its endpoints on the circle too.
Angry Skiller stack.
Hold up.
Holding it up.
actually meant like a real killer.
Holding it up.
Wait, hold it.
Yo, you.
Ooh,
Uno reverse.
Draw 4.
I thought you had a dead draw.
There's a joke. Because
Wild
it's at 2:30.
card.
I think splitting families apart.
Okay.
She
So,
hasn't yelled at me.
you guys all know.
No, I was just like, oh, okay. whatever.
Example 4. Identify each part shown in the diagram to the right as being as specific as possible. Angle JHI. Angle JHI is what?
The
Right
inscribed
angle.
angle.
Inscribed angle. Very good.
Right angle.
Its endpoint and vertexes are both on the circle. It's an inscribed angle. What would segment JI be?
Radius. Diameter.
Diameter. It's a chord that goes to the center. What would point G be?
Circle.
The center. Point G is the center. If it was circle G, then it'd be a circle, but it's point G. Okay. Angle IGF would be what kind of angle? Central angle. The vertex is at the center. Very good.
Anytime I see diameter,
Yeah, like diameter.
no, I think you know that
No.
the meme that says look like the 2 guys from
Daniel with the white man.
no.
Oh, Ice Cube.
Yeah,
And Chris Tucker.
Oh.
Friday.
Yeah, let's not finish that word though, okay? Hey, FE. FE is what? It's a chord.
It's a chore.
FE chord, that would sound weird. That would sound awful. That would sound like trash. That would be so bad.
You're trash.
Trash makes it
No,
sound.
you. FG. Segment FG would be a
It's a radius.
radius.
What are many radius?
Many radii.
Guys,
Moosin.
guess what happened
Many
today?
must moose it.
What?
I saw him like a moose
remembered
in
my
the
birthday.
woods.
That irritates
Moose.
my biological remembered my birthday.
Yeah.
Like he texted me.
Okay, what about the rest of the solar system?
At least you have it down.
Brought a cup of dirt. Okay,
I
moving
know,
on.
daughter.
Every
I think that's the one.
Every interior angle inside, every interior angle inside the circle has an intercepted arc.
Why does it say middle?
Okay, just
Oh,
we
because
fill
you're
in.
reading the top part.
Right.
Okay.
The arc that lies in the middle of an interior angle of the circle. That's our definition for an intercepted arc. Yes. An intercepted arc is an arc that lies in the middle of an interior angle of the circle. So whether it's a central angle or an inscribed angle. Okay.
Last question,
So-
Mr. Gospel.
What? No, that's question. I don't want to.
Question.
Angle FOP intersects arc FP.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Oh,
What
height.
is
Oh, trash.
no.
Yeah, I know. I'm well aware.
Oh, height.
Yeah.
It looks like the line on top of the arc.
What do you mean?
Why are you doing
Oh,
this again?
sorry, yeah, they should be more. There you go.
You look like Jim Carrey. Coming out of the rhino.
Guys, voice off. Stop, get out of there. Yes.
How is there an arc in the middle?
Okay, so do you see the angle FOP?
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be like this whole thing would be part of the angle, right? That's kind of where the angle is. And this is the arc that's contained by the angle. You kind of think the arc is contained by this angle.
Oh.
And so that is the intercepted arc.
Okay.
Okay, so what would be
Conservatively, you don't have to make that arc.
angle VHS would intersect arc, Jacob? VS, arc VS. It would be the intersected arc.
You don't have to make that arc on top.
You don't even have to look at
Oh,
the
you don't
middle
because it says arc before it? Okay, good point. Oh,
arc.
he was like, yeah. Okay, angle DFB intersects arc what? Jacob?
DB.
DB.
Sorry.
Forgiven.
I don't forget.
That's all I can think about.
Is your name Jacob Kaylee?
Oh my
No.
god. Calm down.
My dad drew a
My dad actually remembered my birthday this year, guys.
At least you have a dad. Some
Yeah.
of us
You
are,
have a
Yeah.
dad.
some
Get
of us
outta
are
here.
born asexually, Aubrey.
No.
I don't think
That
so.
sounds a lot.
No.
So what's that
If
one?
you were
Ace
wearing
actually
an
means
egg.
you were born without any
One
sexual
Intercourse.
Ah,
parent.
almost like you're not.
I'm
Wait,
like,
that
what is
is
a school
so long
appropriate
to
way
answer.
to
He
say
was like,
this?
wait.
I'm like, what's the
I
right
would
way to
say
say
I'm not
this?
a school.
I've had those
Okay.
class before.
This is the Mrs. Brown, please.
Example 5. Let's eat these guys. Let's eat these. Okay? Angle PAB. Actually, I want you guys to do example 5 on your own. I want you guys to do example 5 on your own. Okay? I want you to do this 1A, 1B, 1C on your own right now. And when you're done, raise your hand. Okay? Or if you have questions, raise your hand.
I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat that all over again?
This part on your own.
Okay.
When you're done, raise your hand. If you have questions, raise your hand.
Just example one.
Yep.
I'm left-handed.
Oh, okay, okay, that was fun.
Oh, no. Slow juice.
Hey, you don't need your arm.
It's true.
Arc, arc,
Yep.
CB.
Arc.
Arc, arc.
Oh. Okay, here too. Oh no.
I finished my, it's my, I can't finish.
Ooh, two's a little tricky.
You're gonna kill the feature.
What did they do?
Yeah.
Oh, not too.
Alright, and they actually have a test book.
Okay. So,
Where?
That's your thing I just heard?
Hey, it's easy, right?
Haley's not coming. Oh god. Meeting up with her tomorrow.
It's a meeting up.
I want to shake my hand. I'm sick.
Okay, so angle PAB intersects arc
CBB.
PB, PP, whatever, okay?
EBB.
Arc CP is intercepted is the intersected arc of angle CAP, okay?
Arc, arc.
Angle
No, that's not
BAC
Arc.
intercepts arc
BC.
or CB, either way.
Arc, arc.
Okay? We're gonna
Where do you see it?
skip this part.
Alright.
Oh, I already did
Okay.
that though.
Okay. So, arcs can be measured in degrees. We can measure them in degrees. Okay, we talked about that as less than equal or greater than 180. So here, find the value of x, and what's it say in the parentheses on your notes?
The whole circle.
So what would the whole circle be?
Apparently 360 degrees. And then you drew a circle around it. You forgot the little circle that
But you
goes
didn't
around
put the
zero.
circle in the middle, so it's
But you don't actually need it because it's labeled degrees there.
There's open angle.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Okay.
It makes sense, doesn't
If
it?
measure of arc, hey guys, second one. If measure of arc CB is equal to 60 degrees, then what is the measure of arc CDB? Think about it for a second, don't blurt. Hey, Evan. You had your hand up earlier.
Yeah, I was talking about that.
Oh, never mind then. Okay, Gage. Yeah, how'd you get that, buddy?
Wait.
360 minus 60, the known part, and that'd be 300. So the measure of arc,
Oh my goodness.
measure of arc CDB, so just like measure, we still write that out.
I love that movie.
Arc CDB is equal to 300 degrees. Yeah, don't forget your degrees, okay? You're the only one. You're just the one who asked about it today.
No,
Okay, so on the test, if we do the like number 1, we put x equals 360 degrees.
I wouldn't count it, no. I wouldn't count anything off of that. But I'm not going to ask you guys to know the technicality of that. If you just always put degrees, that's fine. Okay, third statement, sorry, right? Okay, arcs of the same circle that intersect at exactly one point are called adjacent arcs. Just like we've had all things be adjacent, this means they're next to each other. So here, give me an example of some adjacent arcs.
E and F.
E and F are not arcs. E and F are points.
Dang.
Arc FE and arc ED.
Arc FE and arc ED would be an example of adjacent arcs, arcs that are next to each other. Questions on that? Okay. We also have an arc addition postulate, just like we had a segment addition. Segment addition and angle addition. It's FE, yeah. Okay. I'm sure that really didn't help, but that's okay. Hey, but on 2 we actually used the arc angle addition postulate without even knowing it. Or arc addition, I said arc addition postulate without even knowing it. Because we said, oh well, these 2 arcs are going to add up to be the whole thing. We already just kind of thought that would be a thing, right? You take 2 parts of something, add them together, get the whole thing. So on yours, it says how it should. It says part plus part. It says equals whole. On yours, it says it correctly. Yep. So here, the measure of arc ADB would be measure of arc AD plus measure of arc ED. Yeah, I don't like that as much though because you don't know it's always going to be little, and big. I'm sure you do. Okay. Little and big. I want. Okay.
Yeah, wait.
So, does it say part plus part equals whole?
Yeah, it says it on yours already.
I missed math.
Parts.
We just
Oh,
did one plus one.
Okay, I want you guys to do example 6 on your own, and then we'll be done with the section.
Then are we done and then we get our homework?
Mr. Costa, I was supposed to have my
Jay.
brother with his like geometry.
Hey, Jacob, thank you.
175.
We're working right now. Okay, how'd you get 175, Jacob?
So I knew JK was 65 degrees,
Uh-huh.
and then LK was 110 degrees. So I just added those together and got 175.
Very
I
good.
feel like you just could have said I added 65.
That's true, but I like it. It is. Questions on that?
Can I tell my story now, please?
After I pass the homework.
Don't. See, this is your problem, Kaylee. You asked.
I started to talk and then he goes, yes, Jacob.
Okay.
Because we
story
were
time,
working.
everybody.
And I wanted to get the lesson done.
Well, I got it done,
Patient,
so.
you didn't know it was
We're
done.
4 of the way through our notes already.
Yes.
Which means
Very
Now,
astute.
So was there
Wait, so does that mean
probably when we're done with our notes.
You actually.
we don't even class.
It's true.
I won't be here
I
on
won't be
Friday.
here on Friday either.
Oh, some people. Okay.
Neither will Danny.
You guys are gonna miss my weekly story time. Disappointing.
My
Exactly.
kids.
I don't want to do that.
Oh, Saturday. Will somebody film it?
Hey guys, we're gonna break the other classes.
No, don't erase it. I don't write stuff on there.
Aww.
Test of Monday.
He just took a test.
I was gonna put test today, but
Yeah,
test
that would make
check
it
of 9
even more
test.
fun.
Okay.